Chiang Kai-Shek was not a capitalist, but more of a socialist. In this video, I will be refuting the left-wing historical revisionist lie that Chiang Kai-Shek was a capitalist. But see, the reason why most Marxists, communists, leftists in general like to say that Chiang Kai-Shek was a capitalist, not because of his economic policies or anything like that, because if you examine all of Chiang Kai-Shek's actions, you can see that he was the farthest thing from a capitalist. See, the only reason why they call him a capitalist is not just because he was an anti-communist, but also because he was backed by the U.S. It's this ludicrous idea that they all have where they think that if you're backed by the United States, you're automatically a capitalist. Being backed by the U.S. or any other Western nation doesn't make you a capitalist. Capitalism is the market self-regulating, which means that the state doesn't interfere within people's economic lives, and that everything is turned to the hands of the private owner, so that way the people can dictate the economy. There was no example of that happening in Chiang Kai-Shek's China. In fact, we saw the exact opposite of that. Using that asinine logic that Chiang Kai-Shek was a capitalist because he was supported by the U.S., we could say that Stalin was a capitalist because he was backed by us in World War II. And we could also say that Ho Chi Minh was a capitalist because he also received aid from the United States during World War II, if we use that asinine logic. And then we have that next piece of evidence where Chiang Kai-Shek was against Mao and the communists in general. He was an anti-communist. Well, the truth is, while Chiang Kai-Shek was an anti-communist, he also was an anti-capitalist. Now I am going to read you guys some stuff that I heard that Chiang Kai-Shek did. Now don't expect, because I'm not really good at pronouncing some of those words, because it's from another country, but still, I will do my best and I'll read you guys what Chiang Kai-Shek did, and you guys would see that Chiang Kai-Shek was not a capitalist. Contrary to the view that Chiang Kai-Shek was a pro-capitalist, Chiang Kai-Shek behaved in an antagonistic manner to the capitalists of Shanghai, often attacking them and confiscating their capital and assets for the use of the government. Even while he was fighting the communists, Chiang crushed pro-communist worker and peasant organizations and the rich in Shanghai capitalists at the same time. Chiang continued to use Dr. Sun Yat-sen, I can't really say that name, but anti-capitalist ideology. I can't really say this name, but media openly attacked the capitalists and capitalism, demanding government-controlled industry. Instead of Chiang Kai-Shek blocked the capitalists from gaining any political power or voice in his regime. Once Chiang Kai-Shek was done with his original rampage and reign of terror on pro-communist laborers, he proceeded to turn on the capitalists. Gangster connections allowed Chiang Kai-Shek to attack them in the international settlement to force capitalists to back them with their assets for his military expenditures. See, while he attacked the communists, he also attacked the capitalists as well and tried to enslave them and kill them and take their stuff away. If we also examine Chiang Kai-Shek's 3 principles of the people, I think, you can see that Chiang Kai-Shek was the farthest thing from a capitalist. The 3 principles of the people is to Chiang Kai-Shek to what the 25-point program is to Hitler. The 3 principles of the people consist on these 3, such as nationalism, they called it people's rule, people's power, which is supposedly a democracy, and people's welfare, which was socialism. And yes, Chiang Kai-shek did advocate for a welfare state, and I will be showing you guys here. Alright, so right here I'll be showing you guys this thing. I couldn't really pronounce it. It was on the paper. That was one of the words I couldn't pronounce, but I will show you guys what the state-owned corporations policy was called. Let me go on screen share. Right here. It's this word right here. And you can see also promotes government-owned corporations. Government-owned corporations everywhere. Yeah, I will probably link this below the description, but this will also show the lefties. How can he be a capitalist when all the corporations were state-owned? Alright, okay, so right here, you guys will see Chiang Kai-shek was nothing close to a capitalist. So I don't know if anybody can see this yet, but look right here. Recently described, Chiang Kai-shek was a Chinese nationalist, socialist, general, and dictator by itself. This is a description rather surprising. The legendary Chinese anti-communist was actually a socialist. So let's read right here what he said. In 1918, Chiang Kai-shek re-entered public life by joining Sun Yat-sen, the leader of the Nationalist Party, or I can't really say that word. Thus began the close association with Sun, on which Chiang was to build his power. Shortly after Sun Yat-sen had began to reorganize the Nationalist Party along the Soviet lines, Chiang Kai-shek visited the Soviet Union in 1923 to study the Soviet institutions, especially the Red Army. Back in China, after 4 months, he became commandant of a military academy established on the Soviet model. At Wampao near Canton, Soviet advisors poured into Canton, and at this time, the Chinese Communists were admitted into the Nationalist Party. The Chinese Communists quickly gained strength, especially after Sun's death in 1925. The tensions developed between them and the more conservative elements among the nationalists. Chiang Kai-shek, who, with the Wampao army behind him, yeah, I can't really say this word, so I'm just gonna say Wampao. I don't know how to say it, but whatever. Behind him was the strongest of Sun's heirs. Met this threat with consummate shrewdness. By alternate shows of force and leniency, he attempted to stem growing influence without losing Soviet support. Moscow supported him until 1927. Interesting. He was supported by the Soviets for like a short time, but then later on they began to support Mao, of course. But see, he viewed the Soviet model as a very good example for China. And I will be leaving this below the link below the description. And there you have it, folks. Chiang Kai-shek was not a capitalist, but he was an opponent to the capitalist system. We have concluded that so far. So, like, dislike, give me your feedback, and subscribe to watch more videos.